In the last video, we have created a database design model. In this video, we will execute the SQL queries and we will use the models in our handlers. And finally, I'm going to insert one row in our data MySQL snippet table. In order to executing SQL queries in Golang, Golang provides three different methods for executing database queries. First one is db.query. So this is used for select queries which returns multiple rows, and the second one is used for select queries which return a single row, and third one is used for statements which don't return rows like insert and delete. Okay, so I'm going to write the SQL query here in snippets.go, and then we will execute the SQL statement. So here I wrote the SQL statement. Then I'm going to use the db.exe execute method on the embedded connection pool to execute the statement. The first parameter is the SQL statement followed by the title, content, expiry values for the placeholder parameters. We will see how we can write this. So m.db.exe, and then we have to write here query strings, like first parameter will be statement, the query, and then here argument interface like title and content, and then expires. So it will return the two argument. So there is returns the two objects. One is a result, another one is error object. So first I'm checking the error is okay or not. Then return 0 nil. And I'm going to use the last insert id method on the result object to get the id of our newly inserted record in the snippets table. id error equal to result dot last insert id, and I'm going to check the error object. Then 0 comma error. Finally, here I'm returning the id comma error. Okay. Okay, here db.exe method provides the two methods again. One is a last insert id, another one is the rows affected. Last insert id, which returns the integer generated by the database in response to a command. Typically this will be form an auto increment column when inserting a new row, which is exactly what's happening in our case. And the rows affected, which returns the number of rows affected by the statement. Okay, we'll see about the rows affected method in the future videos. So till now I'm going to return only last insert id. Okay, and then later, now I'm going to using this model in our handlers. So let's go to the handlers.go. Now I'm going to change the create snippet handler method. Okay, here I'm going to creating some variables holding dummy data. We will remove this data later on during the web application build. So I'm going to create title, which is 0 snail, and content is like this. and then expires equal to 7. And I'm going to pass this data to snippet model insert method and receiving the ID of new record back. So app dot snippets dot insert method, here receiving the title, content string, and expires. Title, content, and expires. This will return the ID. Two objects, one is the ID object, another one is error. So I'm going to check the error, app dot server error, and then error. Okay, this is a we created the centralized error handling. Okay, return server error, and then I'm going to redirect the user to the relevant page for this snippet. I think I'm going to remove it. I don't need it anymore, but let's keep it. Let's keep it like this. Okay, http dot redirect. So response and request, and here the string will be fmt dot s printf slash snippet id equal to, this is a %d. Going to close the bracket here. http dot status would be status see other. Okay, so everything is ready, I think. So we'll check once. Okay, what I have done is that, so I have created one SQL statement for inserting the data into snippets table. So here to execute the SQL statement, I used the db.exq, and it returns the two values, two methods. One is last insert ID, and another one is rows affected. So last insert ID, which returns the integer generated by the database in response to a command. Okay, we will see about the rows affected method in the future videos. Okay, then I'm going to use this model in routes.co. I used this model in handlers.co. I'm sorry, not routes, not in routes.co, in handlers.co. So I have created one dummy data here, title, content, expires. Then so I called the insert method which returns the ID. Then I'm checking the error, so I'm going to redirecting the user to the relevant page for the snippet. Okay, so I'm going to start the server. Oops, sorry, it should be go run cmd web. Okay, server is successfully running. So in order to post the data, I'm going to use the curl command. Okay, curl -l, I kept hyphen capital X post, and then http localhost snippet create. Okay, see, displaying specific with ID 4. Okay, so once we post the data, we will check our original data in MySQL. So select ID, title expires from snippets. See, so I loaded the dummy data into our snippets table. Okay, 0 snail and expires. I hope you understand, guys. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.